Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back. Welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now, before we get into today's episode, which is a little bittersweet, I mean a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of looking back into the past of Top Drives, I was talking to the boys in Discord. I was talking to Chickens and Corn, and we were having a great conversation about, you know, what the game used to be like. And the reason why we got into this conversation was because two of the key cars in the final that just ended were surrounding cars that have been around in the game for quite some time. And yeah, I was talking about like how unlucky it has been. Like, I've never pulled the CTR2. I've always wanted this car since it was released in German Renaissance, and I've never unpacked it before. And it's honestly how the cookie crumbles, right? It is what it is, literally. I have every legendary surrounding it, but I do not have the one that made the difference in the final that just passed, and in many finals that happened early on in the German Renaissance days. I mean, maybe one day this will be useful too, and I wouldn't have it in my garage. It's quite funny actually, because I pulled the RT35 two times, I pulled the CTR3 two times. Honestly, sometimes the game picks you. You can't really pick the game, but let's jump into it. We got the events. I mean, it hurts. It does hurt. Mitsubishi Lancer WRC05 final. Yeah, there's no easy way to put it. It hurts. I knew from the moment that I joined the final that I was not gonna have a chance. And I tried to give myself a chance by opening the titanium and opening the platinums, and we were lucky. Nothing there. Okay, MGG 63. That's a good epic to get though. That's one that I do not own, and I wouldn't mind, you know, adding that to my collection. But yeah, we got 4 epics. But again, you know, sometimes the game just chooses you. We might have pulled 4 epics, but all of the epics that we pulled were not going to make an impact in the final for me. There were all the crappier, you know, RQ70, RQ60 epics, like RQ65, 66 epics, and they weren't going to make a difference. And it was just unfortunate. I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation all around for me. It could be worse. I didn't spend anything. I didn't spend a single piece of fuse because there wasn't anything for me to upgrade. I didn't have anything. I ended tier 3 with a pretty bad hand, I would say. I think a lot of people, I can already foresee the comments of people saying, "Oh my god, that hand would have been like tier 5 in my bracket." Okay, fair. You know, I like to attack brackets when I see other people getting easy brackets and winning things. I got an easy bracket this time, but I still couldn't win it. It was kind of funny that the bracket that I had, the dude in first place, this guy called Chester Sipple, fantastic hand. Everything was fully upgraded. He had 3 fully upgraded epics. It was definitely like a tier, not even tier 1, but a first place worthy hand. But the interesting thing about what made my bracket easy was the drop off was huge. After Chester's hand, there was a couple of hands that were still pretty good, but I think if you wanted to get into that top 12 range in my final, you could have if you had a 111 legend and a few couple epics. That's about it. Think about it. I had 2 ultra rares in my hand and I ended 17th, so it was very easy. I'll show you my hand right now. I think you guys saw it. I think I showed it in a previous video, but it was the Porsche 911 RSR 3.8. So I had that fully upgraded, and another car that I had was the Volkswagen. It was the Volkswagen W12 Roadster. Those were the 2 that were kind of the biggest winners for me that got me to 17th place. There was also, I mean, this kind of carried its weight, the Mercedes-Benz. Not a great epic, but it was capable of beating ultra rares and 4-wheel drive epics in the dry. So yeah, it kind of carried its weight. I think it did hit above 66 for this final. That isn't saying much though. And then the other 2 cars I was using was another Porsche. It was an ultra rare 911 GT3, and the last one was an Audi. It was the Audi S4. So yeah, I mean, it was not a good time. It was just not a good time. The fact that I got 17th with that hand, you know, 5 places off prize card territory, already showcases how easy that bracket was. But also, my hand was just really bad. Like I said, we pulled 4 epics. I pulled the A8 coupe. I mean, this fully upgraded would have been great for the karting circuit. still wouldn't have been the best option because it will still lose to the RQ78 Porsche 911. So even though I pulled this, I was like, there's no point maxing it because it's still not going to be the best option. If this was the best option for the karting and maybe like the Monaco streets, then maybe I would have maxed it. But, you know, it will still lose to the Porsche. Anyway, the Porsche is a really old car. It's been in the game since 2017. Hutch classifies that car as like part of the originals. I don't. Because that wasn't when the game released. It wasn't part of the game when it released in September of 2017. It was like among the first updates with Suzuki that came in like December of 2017. So it's a little bit different. And then there was the Audi Avant RS2, which I also pulled, as you can see, 3 days ago. Yeah, no point in running that one. And then I also pulled more Porsches, right? Like I pulled 4 Epics. So 2 of them were the Audis. I pulled this Porsche, 911 Carrera 4S. And I also pulled the Porsche 968 Turbo RS, all of which were just completely useless in the final for me. So yeah, although the odds were in my favor, the cars themselves just were not good enough. Tell you what though, like I said, I was talking in a Discord server with Corn and Chickens, and we were kind of, you know, taking a blast from the past, talking about the good old days of top drives, and I want to highlight this one right here, the Porsche 911 Turbo. This thing, probably laughing in its grave right now, is one of the biggest trolls in my entire top drives career. I mean, in my entire 7 years of top drives, I'm not sure if there are many cars that has harassed me since the beginning. Okay, 911 Turbo. Let's talk about this journey of this car, because I owned it. I got it really early on. I got it in the fall of 2017, like right at this, not fall 2017. I think, I can't remember. It was winter. It was cold. It was a cold time. I unpacked this car at my best friend's house. Pelster's house. I did like 1 video with him or 2 videos with him like a long time ago, right? I think we were like playing FIFA, I want to say FIFA 17, FIFA 18, I don't know. And it was a daily login pack. It was a time travel pack. You know those time travel packs, we see them like once, maybe OG players might know, but it has like really cracked odds where like you just don't know what you're gonna get. And I remember from that daily pack, that time travel pack, I pulled 2 epics, one of which was this Porsche 911 Turbo. And at the time I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's a high RQ Porsche. Back then it was RQ26, back in the old RQ range. Just a little bit of Top Drives history for y'all. If you look at all of my OG Top Drives garage tours of my own garage, you're probably gonna see this car sitting in there, right? I had it for that long. I had it and I fully upgraded it because I love Porsches. I love them. And I was like, wow, this is a high RQ Porsche. It's gonna be great. Come summer of 2018, and it was the final of the ZL11LE. We're talking the first ever time the ZL11LE came around. It was Porsche ×5, and I was like, yes, I'm ready, let's go. You know, I had a lot of high RQ Porsches, and I think it would be a bit better if I just showed you all the Porsches, right? So if I just go epic Porsches, yeah, let's go epic Porsches. I wish there was a way to filter by original. I think they took that tag away. I don't think we can do it that way anymore. But anyway, I had a lot of high RQ Porsches at the time for that ZL11LE final. I had like the 911 Carrera RS, which was on a roll. It had won me the Porsche 918 prior. And then I had things like I had 2, I think at the time, no, 2, maybe 1 of the 911 GT2. And then I also had what you call it? I definitely had this, the 911 Turbo. So the ZL11LE came around, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this car. And it lost everything for me because that was an all-drive final. It lost everything for me. I was a noob at the game. I was new to top drives at the time. I didn't know that 4-wheel drive was as terrible as it actually is. I thought, you know, because like I thought it was an unspoken rule where 4-wheel drive at the time when I started playing top drives back in 2018, 2017. You know, throughout that first year of playing top drives. At the time, I thought that 4-wheel drive just was an unspoken handling boost because, like, think about it. Off-road tire cars, for example, they don't handle as well as slick tire cars, right? But they just handle so well in the dirt. So I thought 4-wheel drive, you know, for it to make sense in my mind, because there were so many four-wheel drive cars that were so high up in RQ with rear-wheel drive cars with way better RQ. Like this is 90 and this is 85. I thought, oh, okay, it's fine. It's 85, sure, but maybe four-wheel drive gives it a +3 or a +2, something like that. Well, that was just my Blossom logic back then, okay? And I thought that it was gonna be fine. I trusted the RQ. I trusted the process. I trusted the leveling system that the game provided. And, you know, I was using this car in the final, and it lost everything. It lost absolutely everything. I had it fully upgraded. It lost absolutely everything. You know, the cars that were winning the ZL1 1LE was like the GT3 RS, which I didn't own at the time. I have it now because I pulled it, and it's been useless to me since pulling it. And then, you know, the 911 RSR. This thing was my nightmare. I didn't have it at the time of the final. And yeah, this thing was just destroying it everywhere, and I was just so confused. I was like, what? Because I think back in the day, 911, I mean, the slick tire cars were seen as a disadvantage by Hutch. So I think back in the day, this was like an RQ24 or 25. So it wasn't as high of an RQ as the 26 that the 911 Turbo provided. So I was like, oh, surely like this car, because it's higher in RQ, has to be better in some way. There was no Top Drives records back then, right? There was no Excel sheet. It was just pure vibes and experimentation. And yeah, I just realized, wow, this thing was losing after everything. It was losing to, you know, the 911 Carrera S. It was losing to the 911 GT3 RS. It was losing to the RSR. It was losing to the GT2. It was losing to the GT3. Everything. Even though it was low in RQ, I was like, wow, I was so appalled by it. And ever since that final, I just didn't see that car in the same way. I was just like, wow, you're shit. And then, you know, obviously when Italian Renaissance came around and all the later updates in 2018, late 2018 to like 2019, I started to realize that four-wheel drive is a hoax. So anyway, I had the car though, because it was fully upgraded, and I was never going to sell a fully upgraded Epic. So I know what you're thinking, Blossom, why don't you have it then? So, this car went up to Legendary, which baffled the hell out of me, honestly. I was like, what? I saw how useless it was to me as an Epic, and I was like, now it's a Legend? And then I think I pulled it again as a Legend. So now we're sitting in a scenario where I had two of these. And I remember this, this was after the RQ revamp. It was RQ82, right? This was when, you know, RQ100 was the highest RQ. It was RQ82. I wish I had photos of all of these, but it's all just in the mind. It's all memory, right? Had two of these, RQ82. I mean, if I can find photos from like my older videos, I might put them here. But yeah, RQ82. And yeah, it just kind of stayed there. It didn't do anything for me as a Legendary, right? And then when the first ever, the only RQ rebalance we've ever had, I think it was during World Expo, when everything moved back down, right? The 911 was one of those Legends that moved down to Epic as well. And remember what happened when the Legends moved down to Epic? We got tokens for it. This car was so old that it went up to Legend, went back down. I basically upgraded it as an Epic. It went up to a Legend. It went back down to an Epic, but I got Legend tokens out of it. So it did do me some grace because, you know, I got extra Legend tokens from this 911 Turbo, and then I went on and upgraded other stuff that I wanted, like, you know, Alpha Pro Car or Koenigsegg Jesko Attack or anything like that, right? Absolute not attack. So then it went back down to Legend. I mean, it went back down to Epic. I got the Legend tokens out of it, and all of a sudden, this car became stock. See where this is going? I had two of them. I sold them both. I know what you're thinking. In hindsight, like, it's easy to say, Blossom, you're just stupid for selling them, but in my opinion, right, I sold this World Expo. How long ago was World Expo? 3 years at this point? You're World Expo, but that doesn't say anything because I didn't pull this on the first day of World Expo. Do I remember what my first ever World Expo car was? Probably not. Yeah, I think World Expo has been around for what, 3 years now, something like that. Or at least 2. I think 3 years. This summer update, I can't remember. This European Grand Tour, I think, and then the previous summer update was APGP, and the previous one after that was maybe 2 years of World Expo, maybe. But yeah, anyway, sold both those Porsches, and now 2 years later, this Porsche is useful again. So I guess by my logic, it was kind of like I can either sell the cars now, because I probably sold it for a reason. I probably needed the cash for something, or I maybe needed the fuse for something. I think I sold it. I'm pretty sure I sold it. I don't think I fused it. It's so long ago. And I kind of just told myself, oh my god, it's an Epic. Like, I'm probably just gonna pull it again. But the thing was, I never pulled it in 2 years. So, I don't know, man. Like, is it worth? Because I know some people, the way that they play is that they'll get an epic, they don't have it, and they know they don't have it, and they'll keep it forever. But it's kind of like, you gotta ask yourself a question, like, is it worth keeping an epic that you don't own for it to be useful in 5 years, for it to be sitting there in that garage for 5 years and you never use it once? I don't know. I mean, sometimes it pays off, right? One card that definitely paid off for me that has been sitting in my garage since the beginning of time was at Murcielago, because this Murcielago won me the 7th anniversary event, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I definitely regret selling both those Porsches. I will not lie, but also at the same time, it just really felt like every old car that came after every new update was never going to be used by Hutch. It was never going to be useful again in a final, and it is. So, yeah, I mean, that 911 truly is a bit of a curse, isn't it? I don't know. It's one hell of a story to tell. That Porsche has gone through a lot in my garage. And it's quite funny because, like, you never know, if I pulled that Porsche again, then this story would not have existed. Like, this car would not be the bane of my existence. If I pulled the Porsche again right before this final, or even during the final from the titanium pack, I maxed it out, I used it, then, it would have been fine. All would have been good. But because I didn't pull it, it's fine margins, right? It's just very, very fine margins. But yeah, very interesting story. I hope you guys were not bored about that little bit of Top Drive's history, Am I gonna change? Like, am I gonna keep all epics from now on? The answer is no, I'm not. I'm not going to change. I mean, like, I think the only thing that I will change in my strategy is that if you're above RQ 75, I'll keep you. Like, if you're above RQ75 and you're unique, I'll keep you. I mean, things like the Corvette Stingray, I would probably still fuse away if I really had nothing else, because I already have one fully upgraded. Do we need two? Probably. It's way down the list of things that I need to fuse away. But yeah, well, if it comes to fusing away epics, I'll probably just get rid of the low-end stuff first. And talking about low-end stuff, Roof RCT, by the way, one of the few epics that you could use in this final for the Lancer. I have it fully upgraded because I maxed it for a previous Tri-Series. Bloody useless! Absolutely useless. Didn't use it for anything in the final, so yeah, I don't know. Should I sell it? Like, should I get rid of it? Should I fuse it away? I mean, it's really like, I think there's just more value in a stock RQ78 epic than a fully upgraded 65. That's what the final answered for me. But every situation is different. You do what you want. I'm still going to play the game how I want to play the game. And I'm still going to recommend to players how to play the game, how I play the game. Because overall, in the grand scheme of things, although I've made mistakes, and, although I've missed out on prize cars, I'm still very proud of, what my garage has become. So, yeah, you can feel free to choose my advice or not. But, from now on, I'm not going to be fusing away any, epic that I have unique that is above the RQ 75, clearly. I mean, I've not been doing that for, the past few years already, but that Porsche, I think it was because that Porsche also had that legendary value to it. And I could sell it for 300,000, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna sell it. And I think it was because of the hype of World Expo and how I just wanted to open every single World Expo pack at the time, and I was like, wow, another 300k, I can open like 10 packs of that. Yeah, man, I mean, even me, even I can be, clouded by such trivial little things like selling legends and stuff like that. But there are still some cars, though. There are still some cars that have the legendary tag that I still keep around. One being this one, the CTSV Sport Wagon. And the reason why I keep this around, even though it has, I mean, this thing has aged worse than the Porsche. It's almost a low-level epic at this point that used to be a legend. And the main reason why I keep this around, I think OGs to the channel might know this, is because it ended my drought of the longest legendary drought I've ever had. I think it was 7 months of never pulling a single legend, and then from a ceramic pack, this guy just came and saved my life. It was 2019, I want to say August or June. I was on the longest drought, August or July, I think. It was the longest drought of just never pulling a legend. And I remember I pulled this in my dormitory, all right, in Syracuse. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. And for that reason, I'll always keep it. I mean, this has gone through a photo change. It's gone through a rarity change. It's gone through a stat change. I mean, this thing used to have like 105 MRA. I don't think it has that anymore, right? So Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. It was supposed to be like a nice little gameplay day and like a pack opening, but it just ended up being one big nostalgia trip. Yeah, take what you will. Hope you guys are great. Hey, I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville.